My sister called me unfit to be a mother because I am not married, and now she wants to adopt my baby, claiming she's better equipped. The moment I saw the 2 lines on the pregnancy test, I felt a surge of shock, then a strange calmness. It was like the world paused for a second, holding its breath. I wasn't prepared for this. I had always envisioned my life following a neat, planned trajectory. Build my career, settle down, get married, then start a family. But life has a way of disrupting even the best-laid plans, and here I was, facing the reality of an unexpected pregnancy. It had been a short-lived relationship, the kind that was fun while it lasted but never meant to be anything serious. He wasn't part of the picture anymore. We'd gone our separate ways before I even knew I was pregnant. But now here I was, alone and unexpectedly carrying a child. At first, I was paralyzed with fear. The idea of becoming a single mother wasn't something I had ever envisioned. But as the days passed, I began to feel a bond with this little life growing inside me. I decided that this child was mine to care for, and I would raise them no matter the circumstances. I was lucky in one sense. My family was supportive, offering love and encouragement. Everyone except for Emily, my older sister. Emily had always been a perfectionist, and for years she had struggled with infertility. While I empathized with her pain, I couldn't understand the depth of it. She had always been the first to provide advice or criticism, and I was used to her need to be in control. But this time, her words stung in a way I wasn't prepared for. From the moment she found out I was pregnant, Emily started to voice her dissatisfaction with my plans. "You're not even married," she'd say, her tone loaded with judgment. "How can you raise a child alone?" I tried to brush it off, thinking she was just struggling with her own emotions. After all, she'd been trying for years to have a child with no success. But soon it became clear that this wasn't just a passing comment. This was a pattern. As my pregnancy progressed, her remarks grew harsher. She suggested more than once that I let her and her husband adopt my baby. "We're better equipped," she would insist, as though having a child was simply a matter of being well prepared. The idea that she believed she could raise my child better than I could was infuriating. This wasn't about being equipped. It was about control, and I wasn't going to hand that over to her. By the time my son was born, the tension between Emily and me had reached a boiling point. She came to visit the hospital, and when she held him in her arms, I could see the conflict in her eyes. It wasn't just about the baby, it was about something deeper, something personal. The tears began to flow, and for a moment, I thought maybe she was grieving for the child she couldn't have. But then she said it. "He should have been mine. You can't provide what he needs like we can." I was stunned, unable to process what she was saying. How dare she? How dare she question my ability to care for my own child? I told her she was out of line, and in an instant she exploded. "You're so selfish hoarding this baby," she yelled. "This is my only chance at motherhood, and you're ruining it for me." I felt a surge of anger and protectiveness. This wasn't about her. This was about my son, and I wasn't going to let her make it about her pain and jealousy. I asked her to leave, but she didn't take it well. She stormed out, slamming the door behind her, and I knew right then that this was far from over. The drama escalated quickly after that. Emily started to spread rumors within the family, telling everyone I was heartless and selfish for not allowing her to adopt my child. The more she talked, the more I realized how deep her entitlement ran. She wasn't just upset, she felt like I owed her something. I'd never seen her so consumed by bitterness before. It was as though the baby, my son, was some prize she thought she deserved. I tried to maintain my composure, but it wasn't easy. Emily took to social media, posting vague and cryptic messages about how some people didn't deserve to have children. It was clear she was talking about me, but she didn't tag me directly, trying to keep her passive-aggressive attacks just subtle enough to avoid confrontation. I could feel the weight of the situation pressing on me. How far would she go with this? As her attacks became more intense, I realized I needed to take steps to protect myself and my son. She had become a real threat to my peace, and I couldn't let her drag me into some emotional whirlwind. I started documenting everything, her social media posts, the texts, the messages from family members who were caught in the middle of her drama. I consulted a lawyer to ensure I had my bases covered. I had to protect my rights as a mother. The tipping point came when Emily showed up at my house, uninvited, with her husband. They claimed they just wanted to talk, but I knew better. I wasn't going to let her manipulate me anymore. I refused to let them in. That's when she started yelling through the door, accusing me of ruining this baby's life. Her husband tried to guilt-trip me, saying, "We could give him a better life, you know that." That was it. I was done. I told them to leave or I'd call the police. And I meant it. They didn't leave right away, but after a few more minutes of arguing, they finally walked away. After that, I decided to cut off all contact with Emily and anyone who sided with her. I couldn't afford to keep engaging with toxic people. My parents tried to mediate at first, but once I showed them the evidence, the messages, the social media posts, the lies she was telling, they understood. They were angry at her too. They finally saw her for who she was becoming. Someone who was so consumed by her own bitterness that she was willing to tear apart the life of her own sister. To be safe, I reached out to CPS preemptively. I explained the situation and made sure they knew I was doing everything in my power to care for my son. They assured me there were no concerns as long as he was safe and well cared for, and he was. He always was. And that was it. I had made my decision. Emily was no longer a part of my life, and I wasn't going to let her wreck the peace I had fought so hard to build. I stopped responding to her messages, blocked her on social media, and cut ties with anyone who tried to convince me to reconcile. The noise faded, but I knew I was right. My son was my priority, and I wasn't going to let anyone, not even my own sister, get in the way of that. As time passed, Emily's bitterness only grew. She continued to spread lies, but I didn't engage. It was exhausting, but I had made my peace. My son was thriving, happy, and safe, and that's all that mattered. If you ever find yourself in a similar situation, trust your instincts. Don't let anyone tell you what's best for your child. Protect your peace and your family no matter who stands in your way.